I guess when you met me, it was just one of those things. But don't you ever bet me, woman. You see,